Okay, let's talk about it. Trying to figure out the U.S. work visa system can feel like you've been handed a puzzle with 1,000 tiny pieces. It's a lot. But for so many skilled professionals all over the globe, the answer, the solution, really comes down to one specific path. So today, we're going to break down that path, piece by piece.
Right? It's the big question. Maybe you're an international student who just tossed your graduation cap in the air at a U.S. university. Or maybe you're a pro in your field with a fantastic job offer from a U.S. company. You've got the skills, you've got the offer, but what's the next step? How do you actually, legally, make it happen?
For a huge number of people, especially in fields like tech, medicine, finance, engineering, you name it, the key to unlocking that door is the H-1B visa. You can think of it as the main gateway for American companies to bring in talented professionals from all around the world.
So, let's get down to basics. Before we dive into all the competition, the strategy, and the mountains of paperwork, we have to ask the simple question: what is an H-1B visa really? Think of this as the official rulebook for the race you're about to enter. At its very core, the H-1B is a temporary work visa. But here's the most important part: that little phrase, specialty occupations. This visa isn't for just any job. It's specifically for roles that need a high level of specialized knowledge. And the way you prove that is usually by having at least a bachelor's degree in a related field.
So what does that look like in the real world? Well, we're talking about software engineers, financial analysts, doctors, architects. You get the picture. The visa is typically granted for up to 3 years to start, and you can usually extend it for another 3, bringing you to 6 years total. And here's a huge bonus. Your spouse and kids can usually come with you on a dependent H-4 visa.
Okay, so you can't just sign up for an H-1B. Before you can even get in the race, you have to qualify. This is the very first gate you have to get through, and it's actually a 2-part checkpoint. It's not just about you. See, eligibility is a two-way street. It's about you, and it's about the job. The position itself has to be a specialty occupation that requires a specific type of degree and pays the standard local wage. And on your side of the table, you need to have that degree, plus any licenses your field requires. Both sides have to match up perfectly for you to be eligible. All right, let's say you've passed the qualification round. You're eligible, the job's eligible, everything's looking good. Now comes the part that, honestly, causes the most stress for everyone involved. We're talking about the lottery. Why? Because the demand for these visas is way, way bigger than the supply. This is the number: 85,000. That's it. Every single year, that's the total number of new H-1B visas available for companies. And when you realize that literally hundreds of thousands of people are applying for that tiny pool of spots, well, you can see why they call it a lottery. The odds can be pretty tough. Now, that 85,000 number is broken down into 2 buckets. There's a regular cap of 65,000 spots for anyone with a bachelor's degree, but then there's a special carve-out. An extra 20,000 visas are reserved only for people who have a U.S. master's degree or higher. This actually gives them a bit of an edge, because they essentially get 2 shots at the lottery. The good news is, actually entering the lottery is pretty simple these days. Every March, there's a registration period. Your employer just has to go online, submit some basic info about you and the job, and pay a relatively small registration fee. Easy enough, right? But hold on. Here comes the biggest change to this whole system in years, and it's starting with the fiscal year 2027 lottery. That whole game of chance we talked about, it's not so random anymore. And this changes absolutely everything.
So here's the deal. Instead of being a purely random draw, your chances are now directly tied to your offered salary. The government has these detailed wage levels for every single job in every location. The higher your offered salary falls on that scale, the better your odds of getting picked. The whole point is to prioritize what they see as higher-skilled, more senior talent. Selections are still announced at the end of March.
So, congratulations. You made it. You qualified and you were selected in the new wage-weighted lottery. The game of chance is over. Now the marathon begins, and it is a marathon of paperwork.
The moment that selection notice hits in late March, a 90-day clock starts ticking. Your employer has from April 1st to June 30th to file the complete, detailed H-1B petition. A key part of that is getting something called a Labor Condition Application, or LCA, certified. If everything goes smoothly and gets approved, the earliest you can actually start that new job is October 1st.
And listen, this is where you have to be so careful. Precision is everything. A tiny mistake, an incomplete form, a miscalculation on the wage, or a weak argument for why the job is a specialty occupation can get the whole thing denied, even after you won the lottery. It's heartbreaking when it happens, so attention to detail is absolutely critical.
It's also really important to get a sense of what the company is investing in you. Beyond that small registration fee, there's the main filing fee for the petition, which can be several $100s. And then there's this optional but very popular premium processing fee of nearly $3,000 that guarantees a decision in 15 days. All in, it's a multi-$1,000 commitment from the employer.
Okay, you did it. You navigated every gate, you survived the paperwork marathon, and your petition is approved. You've officially crossed the finish line. But what happens now? Because the H-1B isn't just a visa. For so many people, it's a bridge to a whole new future in the U.S. This right here is one of the most powerful things about the H-1B. It's known as a dual intent visa. Now, what does that mean? With most temporary visas, you have to constantly prove you plan on going back to your home country. But dual intent means the law recognizes that you can be here working temporarily while at the same time legally pursuing a green card for permanent residency. It's a huge deal.
And life on an H-1B actually gives you a lot of flexibility. You're not chained to one company. You have portability, which means you can switch jobs. You can extend your visa beyond the normal 6-year limit if your green card process is underway. It's the most common stepping stone to permanent residency. It just opens up a whole world of possibilities.
So that brings us right back to the million-dollar question for today. In this new era of wage-weighted lotteries, what's the best strategy to succeed? The rules have fundamentally changed. Being qualified isn't enough anymore. It's no longer just about getting a job offer. It's about getting a competitive one. So what does that mean for you? Does it mean you should only look at jobs in high-paying industries? Does it mean your salary negotiation skills are now more important than ever? The game has changed. What's your next move?